everyone! Thank you so much for joining this community stand-up focused on desktop. I have amazing folks with me. It's Maddy, Isadora, and Evgeny. And today we will talk about news in WPF, WinForms, XAML tooling, hot reload, and .NET MAUI. So let's start. And let me start with what has recently happened. First, let me make my screen slightly bigger. We released Visual Studio 2022 Preview 1. A week ago, we announced that new 64-bit Visual Studio is available for you. In this preview version, we have a blog post on devblogs.microsoft.com, and here you can click and download this Visual Studio, and please let us know what you think. Report all feature suggestions and issues if you find any. And in this preview, we focused on making Visual Studio available on 64-bit. And in the preview 2, we will bring new features. Another great thing that happened at the same day, June 17th, was announcing .NET 6 Preview 5. And here, Rich Lander wrote a great blog post, very long one, covering lots of new things that are coming to .NET 6. And let's just skim through. We have optional workload improvements. So now you can type .NET workload list or .NET workload update, and you can see what workloads you have installed on your machine. You can also update them. We have NuGet package validation. This package validation tooling, you are able to package validation tool will enable NuGet library developers to validate their packages are consistent. And we have more Roslyn analyzers. Everybody loves Roslyn analyzers. We have custom guards for platform compatibility analyzers. Some WinForms improvements that we will talk later. Libraries, we are dropping support for older frameworks. So now for .NET Framework, we support 4.6.1 and later, .NET Core 3.1 and .NET Standard 2.0. And we are dropping support for all older versions. And we made improvements for Microsoft extensions, and so on. So check out this blog post. Let us know if you have any questions, comment it, reach out to us on Twitter, and so on. And with that, I think we can move to our main topic of today is new improvements and features. And the first one we wanted to share with you is hot reload. I have Isadora here. Isadora, you are a developer on Visual Studio team, right?
Yes, I'm an engineer in the Visual Studio debugger team.
Awesome. How about you take the stage and tell us everything about the goodness of hot reload?
Sure. Yeah, so we have been working especially towards 16.11. So if you're still on Visual Studio 2019, that's exactly where our feature first landed. So you can just go and 16.11 previews, it's already available. And we have been working towards improving the hot reload experience. And hot reload, so I'm not sure if you already use or are familiar with edit and continue. Edit and continue is basically being able to modify your code while you're debugging, so you don't have to stop debugging in order to apply those changes. You can just continue debugging and then apply them. And we have been working with the compiler, with the runtime, with a lot of teams, so we can improve that experience. So one thing that we are really proud of is just hot reload. So now the thing is that you don't really need to pause the app to apply those changes. You can keep your app running and then apply them on the fly and then just press the button and you should see those changes being picked up. And the main idea that we had as well is a broad coverage. So we want to cover all kinds of apps, .NET apps. So we have, for example, WPF, Windows Forms, or .NET MAUI on previews. We have been working very heavily on .NET 6 to support further features as well. or just console apps or anything. And also, we did have been focusing on .NET 6, but it should also work just .NET Core or .NET Framework. The feature is available in all of those as well.
That's amazing. I am so excited to see Hot Reload come into all platforms.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Are you going to show us something today?
Yeah, I do have a couple of demos just to showcase how would that look like.
Perfect.
Okay, so here is my computer. And the first app that I wanted to show is just a very simple, basically S.NET app. So this is like one of the demo apps that you can just create when you create a new project. That's what you end up with. So if I just start, I should see the window and everything. Okay, now the app. Okay, so you just have something here. And then here I can just open my Visual Studio as well. Can you read it all right? Should I increase the font?
Yeah, maybe if you zoom in a little bit or increase the font.
Is that better?
Perfect.
Okay. Yeah, so basically I have this here and in previous...
Actually, maybe a little bit bigger, sorry.
Oh, sure. Is that...
Folks, let us know if you can, text us. Yeah, people are asking us to zoom in. Let us know if you want us to zoom in more.
Maybe I can try something.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah?
Folks are saying that's fine. Awesome.
All right. So we have this sample app here. And the main idea is that, so we are currently running the app. And before, with add and continue, had to actually break or put a breakpoint somewhere. But now, if I want to change the message, for example, and I want to put, let's say, a star emoji, I can just do that. And without even saving the file, I can press this pretty neat button here for applying code changes. And then the changes will be picked up. So you can see code were successfully applied. But one thing is that the app won't restart automatically for us.NET. So if you just press F5, you should see those changes being picked up. And that's something we have been working towards, especially on the new VS 2022, is that the app as .NET projects as well will be just automatically restarted once you apply those changes. But the idea is that basically I didn't pause the app at all, and I can just put whatever I want here and then apply changes. And then if I just restart, I should see all of those being picked up. And I didn't even save the file. And we do even have like more like spoilers of coming changes, is that we also want this functionality working even without a debugger. So you're just starting your app without any debugger attached, and you should also be able to apply changes and see those changes being picked up. So anyway, I do have a more complex app, since this is just a demo, and I don't know, maybe people are not that impressed because, okay, it's just a simple app. So I have this other one, which is basically eShop on web. And I will just start it. I don't know if you have seen, probably some of you have seen it before because it's a very standard demo app, but it's basically a shopping. It's also AS.NET and Blazor and...
Oh yeah, I've seen that app before.
Yeah, it's so... it's very used. Oh, let's see. All right, I will fix the font so it's better as well. Let's see. So is it better?
And what? Yeah. There are some questions in chat. First,
oh yeah.
Is this feature only for .NET 6 projects, Hot Reload?
No, it's available for .NET Framework, .NET Core. We are making as broadly available as possible. Some of the coolest features that are upcoming will be .NET 6, but you should be able, the existing thing that I'm showing now should be available for .NET Framework or any .NET Core.
Awesome. And also people are curious, is there a list somewhere of things that are not working in Hot Reload right now? Or so, if you have from the top of your head, yeah.
Yeah, so I can pick up the exact link, but I know that Roslyn does keep track of all the changes that are currently not supported and what they are trying to improve. So it's just one, like, for example, we did not allow putting a new using statement for edit and continue or hot reload. And now they added a change which you should be able to import and using new namespaces. So that was, that was a limitation. Now we worked improving that. We have been working towards improving the edits around async methods as well, because we had some issues if we modified the number of awaits and everything. But we have been working a lot in order to improve that as well. But I will pick up the link because I don't have it on top of my mind. But
sounds good. Perfect.
Yeah, so this is, I'm using 1611. So this is VS 2019 preview. Yeah.
And 11. I'll show you new Visual Studio 2022, the latest bits.
Yeah. You should also see 2022.
Yeah.
Okay, is there more questions or should I continue?
No, you can go ahead. Well, okay. I'll explain. Yeah, we have a preview tag, but we also have Visual Studio 2019 preview version and GA version, and Visual Studio 2022 preview, not GA yet. So yeah, you see the preview tag on the top right, but it still can be 2019 or 2022.
Yeah, I can see here, I think. Yeah, here. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Okay, anyway, so I have this MO app, and basically it's, so you can shop. So you have this list of items. It's a bunch of .NET items, and there is even a basket. So here it should see all the items that you currently have available for the app. And I'm currently debugging it, so I can see here I do have the fire icon, but I don't even have any changes to be picked up. And the first thing that I want to do with my app is maybe I want to add something to the basket. So I can just try to pick something that I really liked. Yeah, this looks pretty cool. So I'll just add this to the basket. And you can see that the basket is empty. So that's odd because I have just added a new item.
Right.
Yeah, so I can maybe, if I add another one, is that a one-off thing? No. You can see that it's still weird. So very likely something is wrong there. And the first thing that I can do is just debug my app. So if you look here at the hierarchy very lightly, I am kind of already familiar with this, so I can just do a quick spoiler and okay, maybe the code that is really relevant for me, it's around the basket service. And you can go here and then you have delete, set quantities, or add an item to the basket. And then I can see what's happening there, that it's causing it to be empty. So what I can do here is just, okay, so we are creating the basket item. And we are just getting something, and then we were just updating each of the repository. But maybe we are not really doing anything with it. And if I just look it through, I can see that it has something like remove, set, but it doesn't really have anything around adding a new item. So maybe I should start with that and just actually adding an implementation that will add an item to the basket. And I also do have some spoilers because I did have this before on the go, so I can just add this right here. So basically, and then you just need something, let's do like this. So you have here this new method that I just added, which is actually adding the item from the basket, and you have the catalog item ID, the unit price, and the quantity. And then I'm basically checking if it's empty. If it's empty, I'll just create an entirely new one. And if it's not empty, I would just add the quantity to the thing that I already had on my basket. So I can start just by applying this change here. And then you can see that it was applied. But the thing is that I'm not actually calling this method from anywhere. So I actually need to add the item that I just created, but that's all right because we created the item right here. So what I can do is that I can just do a basket dot item, and then I'll just pass along the catalog item ID, and then the price, and then quantity. And I'm not even pausing the app, and I will just apply this change as well. So now every time that I add an item, I should see it in the basket. So maybe again, I'll try to buy the sweet thing that I saw. And you can see that it's now actually, so now it's actually adding to the basket. And this was all done without pausing the app, just on the fly and just applying the changes as we go.
While the app was running, right?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so like it really improves productivity a lot because you don't really, like imagine if I had to stop the app and try and build again and go, and now I don't even have to break. I just apply the changes.
That's amazing. And we have a question. How does hot reload actually works? How are the code changes applied? Some overview.
Okay.
People are curious. So
yeah, okay, so I can give details on that because I was a developer on the debugger, so I made a bunch of this happen as well. So basically we had before edit and continue, and what edit and continue does is basically we stop the app, we break a session, and then we pick up those changes and we say to the compiler, Roslyn, oh, I have those changes, can you please let me know what that means? Can you compile those into actually bytes so I can apply in memory? And then we receive those bytes, and then we will not touch any DLLs. So your physical files on disk, they won't be modified at all. We are doing everything on memory. So the process on the memory, we are going to replace those bytes with the changes, and then we will ask the runtime, the CLR, to actually apply those and map the code correctly. So that was something that we always had before. And now the changes that Roslyn, now we are also picking up the changes while the app is running. So we do a quick pause under the hoods in order to just apply the changes. And then we are able to actually manipulate those bytes in memory as well. So it's pretty cool. Like all these changes, they have been applied. But if I start the app again, it will rebuild because these were never actually built onto the DLL. It was all in memory.
Nice. That's awesome. We have another question. Would it be possible somehow to run the app without debugging and still have hot reload working? Why is debugging needed?
So right now we do need debugging because that's where all the parts from the compiler and just keeping track of the state of the app are. But we are doing that for 2022. We are working towards, we already have some demos, especially on S.NET, where you don't need a debugger in order to apply those updates. So you just apply, so you just start without debugging, and then you should see the same button that I just pressed here, the fire, and then you should be able to see those changes, and the app will even restart for you. And we also have some of this functionality in .NET Watch as well.
That's perfect. Awesome. All right. If there are more questions about hot reload, let's look. There was another question when Visual Studio 2022 will be released, and we don't have exact date, and you're guessed absolutely right that it's going to be in 2022, but we will keep you guys posted, and previews are available. Preview 2 is coming up soon, so you already can start using it. There is a question. Do you do all that you, Isadora, just explained with hot reload with assemble language? I'm not even sure what this
so so right now it's .NET. So you should we also have this hot reload working for C++, but we have been working very heavily with .NET and the C# team. So I think assemble language, maybe if you have IL code being compiled, I assume it would also work, but I'm not really tested that. But it's mainly C# and Visual Basic.
Awesome, nice. And there is a huge interest to how hot reload works under the hood. So people ask us to blog about it. That's a great idea. Yeah, we probably should. Yes. And Okay, will hot reload work with multiple projects like Blazor server and WASM?
Yeah, so right here I have, I'm debugging a bunch of projects here on the eShop.
One second, I'll bring you to the, okay, yeah.
Yeah, you can see here that I have multiple projects in order for this solution. We are working towards as well being able, on 2022, you should be able to do hot reload with multiple processes. So if you are debugging more than one process, you should be able to apply the change to all of them as well. But yeah, so to answer your question, like, we are supporting as much projects. We want to make this broadly available. So that's our goal. So if you're debugging multiple ones, you should also be able to use them there.
Perfect. That's awesome. All right, let me scan through. Does hot reload also work with WinForms? It does, and I'll show you later how it works with WinForms. Not everything works, so I'll show you what works, what doesn't, and what are our plans.
Yeah, I do have a quick demo on WPF as well, if you want to, or we can just finish questions first.
Yeah, sure, go ahead with demo, and I'll read questions and read them out loud to you later.
All right.
Go ahead.
Yeah, this one should be a quick one as well. This is a WPF app, just to showcase a different project other than Ask.net. So this is basically a particles demo. So let's see. So we have this one. So it's basically spawning all those particles, and then the app is running. It's pretty. It's a sample app from WPF as well. So let's say I want to change something, and what is nice about it is that I can see that it keeps changing on the fly. So if I change something, I should actually see it right here. So let's say that I want to change how the velocity works. So I want actually to be very slowly and tight. So if I do that, and then I actually just see my fire icon, here it goes. You can see that it changed right here.
Right, yes.
Yeah, so that's also a pretty nice way to visualize. Let's say I want to change the particle size by 3. And then I can also do that. And then it suddenly it's huge. Yeah. Or if I want to make it really fast. Yeah, so this is like, if you're also just game developer or anything, that you can just see, it's very visual. So that's one other thing that I really appreciate about hot reload as well.
That's amazing. Yeah, there is a question, can hot reload be integrated with unit testing?
Yeah, it should work with unit testing as well, if you're just debugging unit tests and apply the changes.
Awesome. Right. Somebody said, Ahmed Hamdan says that he tried hot reload with Blazor and it's amazing. My question is, does it work on Blazor MAUI yet?
So we are working on MAUI preview versions, and we don't have the full experience fleshed out yet. We are working on 2022 to support as many edits as we want, especially on CS HTML files. So we have been working with Roslyn team to better support edits around those.
Perfect. And the question, if we change code of C#, will it be refreshed? Yes, it will be. We need to press the fire button, right?
Yes.
Changes.
Yeah, so here you can see that I'm just like doing stuff, and you can see the change right on the left. For Ask.net, for example, it can require the page should be restarted. But again, we are working towards just automatically picking those up, and the page should just restart automatically as well.
Right. So the goal is no buttons. It just we update C# code and it right away. And that kind of answers the question, why not just hot reload by saving the changes and not really clicking that hot reload button? Well, the goal is you don't click any buttons, you don't save, you just change the code and automatically your app is updated.
So yeah, our prototype on Ask.net, it has changes being applied on Ctrl+S. So you have a special settings, and if you want those changes to be applied on save, you can also have that. But I particularly like applying changes without saving the file. So that's why I like the button still, but you should also be able to do that.
Yeah. The button looks super cute.
Yeah, I like it. It's really
yeah. Does hot reload support adding files or only updating current?
So I believe that's a current limitation. If you, when I pass the Roslyn page, we do not support adding new files yet. So basically, if you do that, there will be in the error list window, you always want to keep track of that because it's compiling code. It will say, oh, we do not support adding a file on during an ENC or hot reload apply.
Okay, awesome. And concerns about performance, that hot reload adds overhead to performance while debugging?
So you shouldn't see, maybe while applying, because we have all those bytes being passed around, but you shouldn't see much of overhead. A lot of people use ENC or hot reload within the same session a bunch of times, and they haven't seen many performance regressions. So it shouldn't have much. And also it's debug bits, it's not production bits, so it's something that you're already open to playing around. So that's the main idea.
Nice, yes. There is a question about Visual Studio. When I install Visual Studio 2022 preview, it asks to select category of development. Since I already installed 2019 community, but it asks for selecting ASP.NET development or desktop, etc. Why? Good question. So this is what is called workloads. We don't want you to install everything because it's gonna take a lot of space on your computer. And depending on what kind of applications you are gonna build, you can customize what parts of Visual Studio you want to be installed. And if you are building desktop apps, then select desktop and don't select anything else. If you want to build ASP.NET, select that. That is like you can select them all. It just will have a huge size on your disk. So select whatever you need to do to get your job done. Will hot reload be usable in generic async, lambda, yield iterator contexts where edit and continue currently fails?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, we have been working with the Roslyn team to support all of the scenarios that you just mentioned. So yeah, so for people that were curious on where exactly we fail, so that's some of those. So, but we are working on improving that. And I have said the example of just using statements. Before you couldn't really do a new using namespace. Now you can. And we are doing a lot of testing around awaits and async and generics, and in order to improve that.
Awesome. People asked you to share that code for that wonderful display. So if it's somewhere open source.
Where the particles one or the
I think so. Yeah, please let us know which one did you want, but I assume that is the particle ones.
It's all available on GitHub repository. I think for Microsoft it's called WPF samples.
Oh yeah. So if you have a link
nice
handy, you can just insert it in chat, and I'll go for it. Does hot reload work with web apps?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. And where you can get the Visual Studio 2019, I'll share a link later in the chat on Visual Studio, but you can...
I have sent you a link for the WPF samples.
Excellent. Let me share this link and we can move forward. If there are no more questions about... All right. Thank you so much, Isadora. That was a pleasure talking to you, and I'm very excited about hot reload progress.
Thank you.
All right, moving on. If you guys noticed, Isadora was using running application and her Visual Studio side by side. And on one monitor, it can be an issue, right? It's not enough space. And that's why we created this new feature called live preview. Let me show you this live preview in action. So live preview brings your running application or preview of this running application inside Visual Studio close to your code. Let me run my app, and here I have a family show application. You might have seen that before. All right, so my application, let me bring it here. It is here. Of course, it started on a different monitor, and now I'll bring my application away. Here I have live preview screen. To find it, you need to go to Tools Options, go to Preview Features, and here find XAML live preview for XAML. Click this in. It will require restart of your Visual Studio, but I already did that. And then you can just type live preview and click it. Here it is. It is a standard Visual Studio window, so you can move it, you can dock it, you can do everything you can do with your Visual Studio window. And let me choose a family here. Let's choose Windsor family tree. There you go. So here's my running application, and the exactly same thing you can see in Visual Studio. Besides just seeing your running app, there are options how to make your UI pixel perfect. And we have an engineer, Evgeny, let me bring you here, who was working on this feature. He did absolutely amazing job adding all those things. And I'll be just showing you, and Evgeny, feel free to comment, add, and answer all the questions. So what we have here, we have vertical and horizontal rulers. We can add those visual lines, and they are available only in the Visual Studio. So it doesn't affect our app, it doesn't affect our binaries. And that really helps us to see if our UI elements are aligned, if they're at the right spot, and so on. You can see the distance to the top and to the left border here. You can move them left and right. You can see which one is selected. It has like a brighter color compared to others. You can delete them. You can delete them all. You can also use keyboard to navigate between them. So right now I'm moving it with my keyboard, and with tab I'm selecting different rulers. Another cool feature is zoom. So now you can zoom in into your running application, which was not we were not able to do that before. So I've heard a lot of feedback that that's what folks need to actually be able to see if their UI elements are aligned right. And you will also have zoom on the mouse wheel with pressing Control and so on. This window, this combo box, will show you active top windows. And right now I have just one, but if you had more, you can navigate between those. And there are a few more buttons, such as show just my XAML, in live visual tree, and select elements. So we can select, let me select, zoom out, select this person. There you go. We have this selected in live visual tree. I can go view source, and here I can change something. Let's change the color. Let's do aquamarine. There you go. We dress them in green skirt, green dress. Right, so this is the feature. Please let us know what you think. What are other capabilities you want to be added? Evgeny, if you have anything to add, if I missed anything, please share.
Not much. The only thing I would say is, as a WPF developer, because Visual Studio is WPF application, I find myself spending lots of time kind of pixel tweaking things. So I would literally kind of take screenshots and then copy and paste them into different applications, zoom in. So all this is just helps myself. Specifically like the fact that you can literally like zoom in on specific button you can take in your main menu or somewhere else, and then use rulers to kind of get the positions you would like to achieve, and then using hot reload to quickly kind of change your margins or your sizes to get the perfect layout. So I personally find it saving me lots of time. Fun fact, as I was working on this live preview stuff and specifically working on rulers, I was using Visual Studio Live Preview to tweak how rulers look and kind of positioning that close button on the ruler and labels, moving them kind of to the left, to the right of ruler. So just I was working this feature, like I found it being useful for myself.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah, I also heard the feedback that folks who are working on UI really want those capabilities.
Yeah. So here's the questions. Live Preview only works for WPF. Currently, it works for WPF. We have near-term plans to enable it for other XAML platforms like UWP, MAUI, Xamarin, you name it. I am not aware of any current plans for WinForms. So this is probably Olia or somebody else from our side can answer.
Yeah, for now, we don't have it working for WinForms, but please let us know if that's something that you want. And the reason for that was that mainly UI for WinForms are created in the designer, not during hot reload, because that's a slightly different concept. For WPF or XAML-based languages, lots of folks prefer to write XAML and edit XAML. For WinForms, it's more working with the designer when you create your UI. But we are open to the feedback. If that's something you want, let us know and we'll build it for you. Right. I would love it. So there was a question if this is working for WPF only. That will work not only for WPF, but for XAML-based languages, right? And Evgeny.
Yes, I thought I answered this question. So we do have plans to support all XAML platforms, specifically UWP, WinUI, Xamarin, MAUI, anything which feels and kind of smells like XAML will support it. Moreover, we have some maybe not near-term, but mid and long-term plans to support even scenarios like you debugging your application on an Android device, or you're debugging your Xbox application running on the Xbox, and you should be able to see your Xbox stuff inside Visual Studio. And again, combined with hot reload, that should increase your productivity.
Awesome. Right. Thank you so much, Evgeny. If there are more questions about Live Preview, please let us know. We'll keep Evgeny here to answer them. And yeah, try this feature. Let us know. Use the Visual Studio feedback or any preferred way to reach out to us and let us know what you think.
I think one thing to clarify is it is not yet in current 2022 preview 1. Our plan is to make it public in 2022 preview 2.
The one that is coming up. Yes. Thank you so much, because I have internal build and it is coming very soon. All right. Thank you, Evgeny. And now let's talk about WinForms. What is new in WinForms? Let me bring my screen here. We have a new blog post published by Igor and he talks about changes in the runtime for WinForms. And the first and big one is application-wide default font. So initially, a long time ago, the default font was Microsoft Sans Serif. Then Windows updated that font to Segoia UI, and WinForms couldn't update it because we were on a framework. We didn't want to introduce any breaking changes. Once we ported to .NET Core and .NET 5, we could innovate, and we updated the default font to be to match the default font of Windows. But if your application was designed pixel perfect for old font, or if you want a different font for your application, now it's super easy to set it once in your main application.set default font, and just specify the font you want to be applied to all your application. What else is new? We brought more runtime designers. So this is the list of the designers we brought to open source and brought it to the runtime, so you can use them when you're creating your custom designers. And the reason why we did not do it before, once we open sourced WinForms, we just brought the runtime part. Design time remained was not included in our open source repo. And then we were prioritizing by the usage of controls, the feedback you gave us. And now we finally got the capacity to bring less popular items, such as those designers, because we've heard feedback that some folks are using them as well. So now they are all available. And if you want something else that we did not include, please let us know, give us feedback, and we're happy to include that as well. So report bugs and suggest features, use Visual Studio icon on the top right, and let us know what else do you want. Now, I want to share some great news about WinForms performance. And I have 3 applications here. One is targeting .NET Framework 4.8. The other one targets .NET Core 3.1. And this one targets .NET 5. Actually, .NET 6. I need to update it to .NET 6. So I'm going to run data grid view, and the app, what it's going to do, it's just going to redraw data grid view for 50 times, 50 iterations. And this is how much memory allocation it took per redraw. Now let's do the same for .NET Core. All right, here you can see instead of 182 kilobyte, we have 173. And it is better, and that's the application is exactly the same. We just retargeted to .NET Core. It's slightly better because .NET Core is more performant, but for WinForms, we didn't do any improvements. We just lifted and brought it to Core. But in .NET 5, we had a chance to actually improve WinForms code and optimize significantly memory allocation, redraw operations, and so on. And here, you can see that it takes only 57 kilobytes compared to 173 and 182. And we have this app. It's available on our GitHub repository, so you can play with it. There are different ways of test performance. This one draws different controls for 400 times. And let's see. So here it took 52. Here 33 kilobyte. Let's do .NET 5. $18, and so on. So pretty impressive performance. And that performance you get by just retargeting to .NET 5. You don't need to do anything else. You just change your target framework and your application runs much faster. These were improvements for runtime, and right now the team is working on improving the design time performance, the designer in Visual Studio. So those improvements are coming next. Now, I would like to show you Visual Studio. Oh, that one was Visual Studio 2022. by the way, and you can check out the blog post that talks about it. And let me bring the Visual Studio 2019 just so I didn't want to mess up with my live preview settings and everything. So here I have this application that I just run. It has .NET Core, .NET 5, .NET Framework projects. So in .NET 5, let me run it and show you how hot reload works for WinForms. So let me get my app while I'll look at questions. Oh, I think I broke it. Let me fix that. That's what happens when you have multiple demos on the same machine at the same time. All right, you know what? Let me take care of that one. And meanwhile, oh, okay, now that works. And let's move on and talk about new great thing that everybody is super curious about is .NET MAUI. Maddy.
Hello, I'm muted. Sorry. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm very excited.
Absolutely.
Sorry, I've been trying to like figure out how to get all the chats open because usually when I do this, like I'm like, I don't know, I do the Xamarin Community Stand-Up first Thursday of the month. So if you haven't met me before, it's a great place to come get to know me. But today I am here to talk a little bit about .NET MAUI, which you might have heard of. Hopefully you've heard of. It's pretty awesome. It is Microsoft's new cross-platform UI framework for building desktop and mobile apps across iOS, Android, Windows, and Mac. So obviously this is the desktop community stand-ups. We're going to talk about desktop, and in particular, we're going to talk about Windows because that's what I'm on. So I have my screen up. Olia, whenever you want to pop it into the stream.
Absolutely. Let me do it right now.
Thank you. Wonderful.
There you go.
And this is VS 2022. So you can see that this is the, this is very zoomed out, but this is the int preview. That's what I'm hovering over here. So this is what will be out in a couple, whenever the next release is, which is not yet, but soon. But all of this also works in VS 2022 Preview 1, which came out last week. So you are more than welcome to download that and then download .NET 6 and the SDKs. We've been using a tool called MAUI Check, which is open sourced on GitHub. It's on Jonathan Dick Red's GitHub to help kind of just install all the necessary bits for you until the IDE can do it itself, which will be happening soon. But yeah, go ahead, MAUI Check it, install VS 2022 Preview, and you can file new, create a .NET MAUI app. And that's what I have here. So let me zoom it real quick. Zoom it. There we go. Just so I can zoom in. So this is what a .NET MAUI app looks like. Currently, we have these WinUI package apps. So these two right here, they're going away. The reason they're there right now is because WinUI has been a little bit busy with some other stuff. I don't know if you watched the Windows event this morning or this earlier today, I guess a couple hours ago, but they've been kind of busy. So we're now getting around to removing these two kind of project heads or whatever. But everything else, and the way it'll look in .NET 6 when it ships GA is all right here in one project. And in this case, it's called MAUI App 2. Very, very creative name I have here. And I have folders for all of my platform-specific stuff. I have Android, iOS, and Mac Catalyst. And then, of course, there will be a Windows folder shortly in the future. And then I have a single point of entry with my startup. And I have my app.xaml in my main page. And that's just how my app works. So it's all XAML, MVVM, the same things you know and love from Xamarin Forms and from Windows, using kind of the Xamarin Forms flavor of XAML, if you will. Yeah, and everything is shared. I mean, I have this resources folder here with fonts and images and all these things I put in one place, and it'll automatically get added to all of the platforms when I deploy it. And everything is kind of handled in this one beautiful CS proj that there will be a settings page that's a UI. But yeah, so let's take a look at what this actually looks like running on Windows. So I have this set as my startup project. And like I said, this is just temporary that it has the package project and the special WinUI project, but everything is shared code. So all of the code exists in this single MAUI app here. And I have all my profiling and diagnostic tools because this is just WinUI running, WinUI desktop under the hood. And all of these things, hot reload works, which you already saw. C# hot reload does not work on my machine right now. I don't know why. I have been asking Dmitry, who is the PM for it, to help me figure it out. So hopefully the next time I'm demoing this, I have C# and XAML hot reload and everything working beautifully. But this is our template app. This is the file new MAUI app. It's got this image, this little .NET bot, which is just right here in the images folder. It's got a custom font. I can click away and add my count and all that. And that's it. It's running natively on Windows. So of course, desktop is great, but it wouldn't really be multi-platform app UI if I didn't also show it running on some form of a phone. So I have an Android emulator set up. So my framework here is .NET 6 Android. So .NET 6 can target Android. And I have an emulator created. That's my Pixel 3 right here. And I'll hit play, and it's going to take forever to start up. So I'm going to read some chat while we're here. Does MAUI replace UWP as the flagship platform? So WinUI is kind of, UWP isn't really getting replaced, I guess. WinUI is the next generation way to build UIs for Windows apps decoupled from the actual operating system you're running on. So it can be like kind of whatever version of Windows. So yeah, WinUI and Project Reunion I would look into, and Olia knows a lot more about this stuff than I do. So you can bother her with those questions. But MAUI is the flagship cross-platform way to develop from Microsoft. So if you want to develop for Windows and something, Windows and Mac, Windows and Android, Windows and iOS, or all four, you're going to want to use MAUI to do that because everything is shared in this one place. And yeah, so the other thing that I'm not going to show today because I don't have a demo that works yet, this is basically how we're operating the MAUI team right now, is some of us have some demos and some of us have some other demos, and eventually we'll all have all the same demos, but not yet.
That's how it's usually done, right?
Yep.
Latest builds, grabbing build from the last night. Yes.
Yep, exactly. Olia gets it. And Olia is now like officially on the .NET MAUI / Windows team, Windows tooling team. So we're on the same team for the first time, which is very exciting.
Yes.
And this is my Android emulator has spun up, but it's taking its time. So hold on. This is a different app that is built with .NET MAUI that you might have seen at build demos. That the emulator is still showing me because it's still thinking. There's also the ability to do native Blazor apps native apps with Blazor. So native desktop apps using a Blazor app code base. So there's just what we call the Blazor web view control, very basic, and you can stick your Blazor project that exists in there with whatever Razor code you have, whatever you have that typically runs in the browser, and it'll run natively on Windows or Mac because of .NET MAUI. So it's a .NET MAUI app with a Blazor app inside of it. It's very cool. There is a demo that Daniel Roth did at Build, the Build conference, which you can still totally go see. It was in like the .NET 6 deep dive session. So just Google that and you'll see all of the Blazor web view stuff and all that goodness, and also some more high reload demos. But yeah, that is a very exciting part of desktop.
Yeah. I just got a question that you probably answered already. Is it possible to write an application with Blazor and MAUI only without having to learn any XAML?
Yes, great question. Good timing. That is exactly what this is. No XAML. You just open a Blazor WebView tag and you stick your Blazor app in it, and that's it.
Yep.
So, okay, this looks like it at least deployed. I don't know why the debugging is taking so long today. But MAUI app 2 right here. That's the same app we just had on Windows. Taking its time to load up. Boop, boop, boop. There we go. Hello, world. I've got my .NET bot. I've got my click counter. And it's all this same code base. Like this is just one XAML file. This is just this one main page with a couple of things on it. Oh no. Okay, there we go. I keep worrying VS is gonna just not like me anymore. So far we're doing good. But yeah, it's just this one XAML and it's the same app running on Android and Windows. Yeah. I don't know. What other questions do we have? That's it.
We have a suggestion that will be nice to have a demo source code that will show CRUD features in MAUI, say on SQLite DB. That makes it more practical to use. Anywhere we can get this.
That is a great question. We are just starting now, kind of as the PM team, to work on samples and all that, and like what the right samples are to ship with .NET MAUI. So I would definitely, I'll bring that up. I think, CRUD features on a database is a pretty standard app functionality. So we should hopefully check that out. What I can give you now, where's my browser? I have so many windows open, is the demo app we showed at Build. I'll drop the link to that in the chat right now. And that has a branch in it called API, which is the branch I will put in the chat, which is starting to do some database operations that are in the cloud. So hold on, StreamYard chat helps for sure. So you're welcome to go check that out. It's a little bit more of a real life demo. That's the weather app that popped up while my Android emulator was thinking. But yeah, this is it. WinUI desktop, Android. If I had my iPhone plugged in, which I do not, I could show it to you on iOS. But yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you, Maddy. That's super exciting.
Thank you. And thanks for all the tooling. I saw a lot of chats about how people are really excited about live preview, which is something we've kind of been talking about like for a while. And I think it'll be super helpful for MAUI and all of that development. Everything's going to feel the same, whether you're doing WPF or MAUI or whatever. You get your hot reloads, you get your live previews and everything. So it's going to be great.
We have one more question, a few actually. Is there support for building desktop apps for Win and Mac without installing Android emulator?
Yes. Yep, totally. So these are just going to be native Mac and Windows apps. So you can just uninstall all of the Android stuff, no problem. Android is kind of like my typical demo one because it is probably what we see the most people target. But yeah, you don't need it by any means.
Awesome. Are there any performance consideration?
It's going to be faster than Xamarin Forms. So if you're a Xamarin Forms developer, it'll be a little bit faster. They're native apps, so they're pretty snappy as it is. They're not like being interpreted or whatever as it's run. And there are, of course, ways to optimize your apps, both natively and at the kind of Xamarin Forms or .NET MAUI layer. But yeah, it is
awesome.
It's
awesome. Live preview will be supported for this. Yes, that is the goal. And yeah, very excited to see it working on MAUI. Okay, we have developed clean architecture, Blazor UI in Blazor.NET 5. Do we want to migrate to MAUI?
Good question. I guess I would have to know more about like your situation and your needs and your customers and what you're trying to do. But if you have Blazor and .NET 5, it should be pretty menial to upgrade it to Blazor.NET 6, and then that can go right into your MAUI app. So, yeah.
And there is a question, sample for my Blazor with some features like refresh view in XAML. I think you just posted the link to our samples, so check out there and we will keep adding to it.
Yeah, definitely.
Also, that's open source repo, right? So feel free to add there your PRs and help us with building samples. All right.
I'll drop another samples link in the chat while I'm here too.
Yeah.
Can we use MAUI for web apps? So currently MAUI does not target the web, but that doesn't mean never. It just means in .NET 6, MAUI is not going to target the web, but you can use Blazor and MAUI.
Is it already possible to create with F#? No.
I think we have a sample in the repo I just dropped in.
Okay.
But it's just currently iOS and Mac Catalyst native. I don't believe it's MAUI F#.
Yeah, I did not see that.
Yeah.
Things are changing fast. All right. Any more questions for Maddy? Oh, thank you so much.
Well, thank you.
What is real advantage of MAUI over desktop and Xamarin apps?
Oh, okay. Good question. All right. This is my last question. Then we're going to wrap. So Xamarin is MAUI is like the kind of the next version of Xamarin or Xamarin Forms, right? So if you are doing a Xamarin app, it shouldn't be too much effort for you to upgrade to .NET MAUI. The advantage of MAUI over desktop is that a lot of times, like, you need both the desktop and a mobile app. So if your code bases are similar enough, like, you can just write one app, streamline your development process, do everything in .NET and C# and Visual Studio. Hire .NET developers instead of a Windows developer, a Mac developer, an Android developer, an iOS developer, all that. And that's, really the advantage of it is that it's cross-platform. Of course, it's going to be like a good development experience. It's going to be pretty snappy, as we said, with performance. So, there are some reasons that Xamarin Forms / .NET MAUI. How many times am I going to say Xamarin Forms instead of MAUI? It's
all habits die hard.
There are plenty of reasons that, like, MAUI is a good development platform, kind of without even comparing it to the native stuff. But I think the cross-platform thing is really the big aspect of it.
Right.
Currently there are no limitations that I can think of for Blazor MAUI.
Yeah.
So
it's literally Blazor in WebView 2 in MAUI. So anything that is available in Blazor should be available in Blazor MAUI.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, now I'm done.
All right. Thank you so much, Maddy. Yeah, and to learn more about MAUI, join MAUI community stand-up. When does it go? It's
first Thursdays of the month.
First Thursday of the month. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. And at the end, let me show you that demo with WinForms Hot Reload. Let me bring my desktop here. There you go. So this is my running app. I'm running the application. It has 50 iterations, and let me change this number. So I'm going to go to this handler, and there, let me change it to 6. I'm going to press this apply code changes and find my app because, okay, run it again. And there you go. Now my changes were applied. When it doesn't work, hot reload, right now, if we go to designer CS and start modifying this code, those changes would not be captured by hot reload. But if that's something that you want to work, let us know and give us feedback. With that, I think let me bring everybody back to the stream. And if you have any more questions, we are happy to answer them. And cool. Let's give it a few minutes. Thank you so much, Isadora, Maddy, Evgeny. Well, I think Evgeny left. Evgeny is very busy. Oh, there he is.
Sorry, I didn't leave. I just got muted.
It's totally fine.
Yep. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Right, let's give it a few minutes. If folks have any questions for all of us, let me go through the chat. So, yeah, maybe there's some comment. I have an existing Blazor app with some of my own components. When I tried to use these components in MAUI, it didn't work properly. So maybe report an issue, tell us what exactly is not working. And the best way to report an issue is to go to Visual Studio. Let me share my screen one more time. go here, actually move it so the logo doesn't. And here is the button, report a problem or suggest a feature. This is the best way for us to get your feedback, because that way we know what version you're using, other things. That's super helpful, and we get to every single ticket eventually. So give us feedback, let us know what's not working. All right, link to Visual Studio 2019. Let me share this link right now. Okay, here's Visual Studio /download. Looks like. There you go, Visual Studio Microsoft.com/downloads. Choose Community Professional Enterprise. Trials are free. Preview versions are free. Also check out Visual Studio 2022. There's also a link to that. Yeah, let us know what you think. I personally like it so far. To support cross-platform, can we keep Razor components in Blazor, or we have to migrate to MAUI XAML?
I just tried to answer that in the chat, so I don't know if that worked, but you can keep them in Blazor. Just keep it. I'll just get stuck into your MAUI app. Nothing fancy. Don't worry.
Nothing fancy. All right, Evgeny, a question for you. Live preview, how it works in simplified terms?
It works very simple. We just take screenshots multiple times a second and then put it inside Visual Studio, and here we go. And then just snap some vertical and horizontal lines on the top of that. And of course, like quite a bit of measurement. We do reuse existing functionality of what we call in-app toolbar. For example, when you debug your WPF application, you can select elements, you get this kind of selection bluish rectangle following your mouse. So we get that info being streamed from your running application into Visual Studio, and we can display the same selection bluish rectangles and whatnot. Yep. So pretty much just extending existing hot reload infrastructure, just kind of making it easier to save you some mouse clicks and alt tabs.
Perfect, thank you. Can we create Mac Catalyst app in a Windows PC without Mac OS? Yes, we can. We have emulators for that, right? Maddy.
So Mac Catalyst, not yet.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
so you can, your MAUI app will target Mac Catalyst. You just can't actually test it out without a Mac app.
Right.
But yeah, we're eventually, I would love that. Mac Catalyst, for all intents and purposes, is very similar to iOS. So if your iOS app is working via plugging in your iPhone and using Hot Restart, your Mac Catalyst app will probably be most of the way there. There's, of course, some fine tuning you might want to do, but.
Awesome. Isadora, hot reload feature is supported for new methods or properties, or only supported for in methods?
It should support both adding new method. In the demo, I just added a new method or properties as well. I have posted a link for the Roslyn, not in the public, but it's basically what Roslyn documents on what's supported or not. So you can check it out there. Or you can also just try it out in your app. And if you don't support it, you create a ticket or just an issue in Roslyn, and then we'll track that.
Awesome. Nice. There was a question if a person can port Xamarin application to MAUI, and the answer is yes. And I believe we're working on tooling for that, right, Maddy?
Yeah, most of your code is going to stay the exact same. The big changes are your project files are going to get updated to SDK style for .NET 6. And your namespaces are going to change from using Xamarin Forms to using Microsoft.MAUI. So we are working on an upgrade assistant tool that will kind of hopefully just do it all for you. But yeah.
Awesome. People are asking if you're gonna drum solo to close out the stand-up. I think you totally should. Yes.
No, I'm not the drummer. They just make me look cool. They're my fiancés. I don't. I have no rhythm talent. So.
Is hot reload compatible with annotations?
I'm not entirely sure. I think this is one of the things that you have to try it out and see whether it works or not. And if not, you should totally create an issue or just track one so we can better support that scenario.
Awesome, thanks. And the question, do we have to click hot reload button every time? Is a way to make it automatic? Yes, we're working on making it automatic. So right now you need to click it, but the future goal is everything happens behind the scenes. You don't need to click any buttons.
You can also do Alt F10 if that helps. So that's the shortcut part of it.
There you go. All right. Somebody is curious if Isadora has a YouTube channel, because her setting definitely looks super professional.
I have a Twitter. Oh, I did have some talks lately on Channel 9 for async debugging. Mm-hmm. So if you are doing async debugging, you can check those out.
Yeah, definitely. All right, I'm just going through questions. Is it possible to call native APIs from Blazor? Any links or GitHub samples? Native APIs from Blazor. I think you need to do it through MAUI, right, Maddy? Because Blazor is hosted in WebView 2, which is in MAUI, and MAUI has native access. So,
I'm muted. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
No, you're right. You're totally right. So. We do read comments from both Twitch and YouTube. I just saw that. So.
All right. Is there something wrong between communication between Mono interpreter and Java interpreter, or is it about rendering? I'm not sure. If you guys have any insight, it seems a bit.
I don't.
Yeah.
File. I think it's about Android quality. I think that's what that question is. So, yeah, we can follow up on that if you tweet me or something. We can talk. Yes, you do need Xcode to compile Mac Catalyst currently.
Actually, am I? Yeah, somebody says, am I doing it wrong? I have this commands chat. Do I not have Twitch commands here? That would be horrible.
It should have it.
It should have it, yeah.
I don't know. It's all confusing.
I think, yeah, in my view, that should be aggregated commands. But if I did not read your command, please let me know, because that's definitely something we need to fix. All right. Yeah, I think support. Please tell us when MAUI WinUI will support MDI container and key down events like WinForms does.
Good question. I'll have to follow up with you on that for sure. So I don't know the answer to that off the top of my head, unfortunately.
All right. I think that would be it for today. Thank you so much for watching us. Absolutely great questions. If you have more, feel free to pin us at Twitter. You can see our Twitters. Mine is at Olia Gavrysh, at eScienceStars. Oh, that's beautiful handle. And MaddyLagger1. Are there MaddyLagger 2 and 3?
Maybe? I don't think so. Not yet. I'll clone myself.
Yeah. You should do that, definitely. And yeah, let us know if you have any more questions. Thank you so much for your time. Try out the preview features, give us feedback, and have a great day. Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Bye.